can't let them. When you let them loose, it's gone, man.
Especially when the food is good.
That food was good, man.
It was good.
Secret
Man,
recipes.
let me tell you. Now, I know some of y'all don't eat ribs out there, but
Some people don't eat pork.
yeah, but these folks do.
I eat pork.
You do?
Yeah.
So I seasoned the meat, man.
Who, you?
Yes.
Yeah, man. It's incredible.
Nobody got sick?
Oh,
Let me tell you, man, they were saying they didn't even need no barbecue sauce.
Oh, that's how you know it's real.
Oh, man, I didn't know.
Yeah, if you don't need no barbecue
They ain't
sauce,
no sauce.
enough said.
It was for real, man. Like, hey, man, they're like, can we have some next week? No, you got to wait till next year.
Yeah. You cold, Dr. Marshall. You told him you gotta wait till
I
next
said,
year.
show up next year, and you can get some more. What's up, Soul? How you doing? You good?
What's up, Street Soldiers
something to
family?
say,
And
brother?
as someone who
I hear
loves
you, but I
barbecue
don't
sauce,
hear
I
you.
do co-sign. If you
Yeah.
don't need the sauce, the meat is good. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The boss, man. And don't nobody call me for my recipe, okay? It's a secret.
Well, yeah,
I ain't
because it's
telling
not
you.
yours, but
No,
okay.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
ain't
You
mine.
didn't
Somebody
Yeah.
told me what to do. but it was good. 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 I've been a great. Y'all were on Olympics, right? Olympics.
The
Oh
Olympics
man,
is
the
lit.
Olympics
Olympics
just
is
kind of
lit.
took
Why is
over
the-
my whole
okay,
world.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes,
Why
sir.
is the Olympics so lit this year?
Well, this
This-
always lit to me.
I think because of COVID. My boy was like COVID was last time. There was nobody in the stands. So now it's
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, yeah.
it's lit.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
Tokyo was a little bit different.
I
Yeah.
love to see Steph,
Yeah.
LeBron at different events. I swear, I get happy.
Do you know who the celebrity stars of the Olympics are?
Who?
Tell them. So, tell them.
Hey, two unexpected celebrity. They're calling them, they're the mascots for the Olympics. Flavor Flav and Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop Dogg.
Yep,
That's
they everywhere.
true.
They're everywhere, man.
Who saw that
Man.
coming?
Everywhere.
Man, Snoop is living his best life.
Snoop is living.
He is. What? Who would have thought when Snoop came out in 1992,
I agree with you.
1991,
I agree with you,
Nobody.
and
brother.
he'll be doing this?
He be
They
running.
They want him everywhere.
He be running with Martha Stewart. That's you would have
That
never.
What a career.
Yeah, man. I mean, he act like he talking
He's
like he
alive
got
and
some
free.
sense. Well, I don't know.
He is alive and free.
Well, if I hope so, because he done been in some very unalive and unfree situations back in the past. But right now, yeah, go ahead, Snoop.
I'm talking about right now. He living a life.
Yeah.
It's a good look.
Yeah. And Flav, man, Flav.
I haven't seen Flavor Flav.
Oh,
Well,
been doing his water polo thing.
He adopted the water polo team, man.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
He's at every water polo event. He was in the pool
I
with the
gotta see
water.
this.
The women's water polo
I
was
gotta
in it.
see
Oh,
this.
you gotta see that.
I haven't seen
He
it.
got the little headgear on and everything, man. The goggles. Yeah, boy. I mean, he doing all of that.
Wow.
I mean,
clock
first
in the
he's just
water?
black and he's talking about water polo. So I mean,
Right.
that already kind of makes you stop just a little bit right there.
That's my
right?
point, Michael. That's
Okay.
that's my point. I'm like,
know what I'm saying?
man.
Now, I
that's
haven't seen the
crazy.
clock. Have you seen the clock? I ain't seen the clock on him, though.
I don't know if he has an underwater clock situation. Not sure. But him and Snoop really, yeah, it's just great to see them both those
It's-
brothers out
yeah.
there representing the
Yeah.
U.S. and bringing joy to folks.
Yeah. Because in 2016, it was, what's her name? Leslie Jones. She was all over the place. But this is different because they both, they in a whole different.
Snoop is the most popular rapper, I think.
Really?
To me.
Okay.
I think it's like Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Busta Rhymes.
Okay.
Snoop is the most recognizable rapper.
Because he's outside of
Yeah.
the business. He's
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
the music business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
In my opinion.
Hey,
I was on Channel 2 for my expert rap opinion.
You were. And you the one that says was expert, but all right, let's get that's real quick Olympic highlight for you. So
Oh, Noah Lyles today. That
Oh, my
100-meter race was incredible.
You see?
Incredible.
Incredible, man.
The men's 100-meter.
Yeah.
See my
It
thing?
was a photo finish.
Beyond
That
photo.
that was pretty cool.
You really had to have a serious
Track and
lens
field
on
is
that.
usually like my favorite.
Oh yeah.
My favorite events.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the star power on the basketball team is just
Crazy.
it's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me dream team vibes.
Yeah. yeah. Well, that's another debate we can
Yeah,
have.
exactly.
Who gonna win what?
Right.
But let me just throw it out for me. I mean, everything. I'm just gonna shout out the one and only Simone Biles,
Oh yeah, that's right.
who is like just
She's a
you know
she's
yeah.
she's in a class of her own.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And her and her husband, they the cutest little
Nice
team,
couple.
man.
Nice couple. Nice
Nice
looking
couple.
couple. Yeah.
Nice couple. You know how they met, right? They met on a dating
He's a
app.
football player.
Yeah, yeah. Jonathan Owens plays for the Bears, played for previously for the Packers.
Uh-huh.
They met on a dating app.
Swipe right?
They made it on a what?
They met on a dating app.
I don't believe in that.
Bumble?
Yeah, I don't believe in Timber. What's it called?
I got
You
it
know
here
what? It's not
somewhere.
the fact that they met on it, is that they stayed together and they're married on it. That's the interesting part.
That's
So, let's see. Let's see. The two
Everybody meets on it.
they met on Raya. Is that it? That's the dating
the
app.
rich people one.
I
Oh
didn't know
yeah,
that.
thanks for letting me know that I don't know about that one. Okay, thank you.
that mean you're not rich?
Yeah, I guess so.
We got match.
I tried to sign up. They was like, "Oh hell no!" They wouldn't let me get
Your
on.
credit score ain't matching up.
But yeah, that's cool. Her and Jonathan, they be trading. How do you do the heart thing? I can't do the heart thing. How you do the little heart thing?
Like this?
Yeah, they be trading hearts up in the stands.
Go like this?
Yeah.
He don't never play, so
He does play. He don't play a lot, but he plays. He play good. He in the NFL. Leave him alone, man.
That's true.
He's
No,
not a scrub. He's not a scrub.
he's a goat.
Yeah.
He's a goat.
He,
for sure. He ain't Simone Biles, but he's a goat.
Well, I'll tell you one
How
thing.
can you be?
He's pretty good at picking wives, picking ladies.
He's a goat of that.
Okay.
He's a goat of that.
Lot more to come. Keep watching Olympics. Maybe we'll do an Olympic half hour next time, right? When it's
Maybe.
overdone, we
fun.
just got the Olympics is wonderful. And we
The
need the
wo-
joy in the world. We
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like the Olympics,
There's
right?
not.
And I know two people right now. Two people.
Oh,
They in Paris. You don't know. Two people, friends of mine. They'd be like, I can't come to the barbecue because I'm going out the country. Where you going? I'm going to Paris. You going to Paris? Lord Jesus, help me. All right now. All right. I love that. Just bring me something back. I don't care if it's a old croissant. Bring something. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We got a couple bad stories, so let's do this. Oh, you got something to say before I do the quick bad
Got
ones?
a really good story.
Okay,
It's
hurry.
Happy birthday to Lady Ray.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
yeah.
That's right.
You can raise some
Birthday,
love.
and she's celebrating this week.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to
Happy
the one
birthday,
and
Ray.
only.
The one and only Lady Ray. All
He's a
right.
legend.
All right. Yes, she is. She is absolutely wonderful. All right. Remember the show we did a few weeks ago on what's going on in Oakland?
Yeah.
Violence in Oakland. Well, last night about 3:30 a.m. after a sideshow. What else? 5 people were shot. Oof. I don't know what it is about sideshows that brings out the seemingly the worst in people. The last one, was the whole thing about the what's that convenience store being ramshackled.
Yeah.
Stuff, but sideshows, I don't know what they're gonna do about them. But I mean, they got to do something. Okay. Some cities are taking a more serious tack, I think.
One city in
told
the
me what
Bay Area
Antioch is
just made
doing.
a big move. The city of Antioch, California, the city council just a few weeks ago decided that it would be illegal to watch, not only participate, but to watch,
That's crazy.
and you could get a fine or worse or more.
That's kind of dumb.
So I wouldn't be surprised if other cities follow, especially if it works. We shall see.
If it works.
Mhm.
I think y'all impound the cars.
I don't like any of that.
Why not?
I think you should create a safe space for people to do sideshows.
Man.
What do you mean? Come on, man.
Okay, let's hold that for another day. Okay, that's gonna
That's
be
a
fun.
whole
That's
Sunday
a whole
topic.
other deal. Yeah, I remember being at a thing with Mayor Jerry Brown. It was talking. We back in the day talking about that. Okay, so people can drive around like crazy kill people.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You
Okay.
create a place.
Fine, all right, fine. That ain't I ain't.
I know.
You can lobby for that.
Live and free cars.
Red and black. White.
Is it public? Is it private? Is
It's
are you saying
public.
city
You can
government?
watch
Let's
it.
see
You
that
can
then.
watch it.
That's-
You create a space.
Good luck with that.
We'll make you the czar of sideshow.
No,
okay.
no, I don't care about cars that much.
Oh, okay.
I like my tires.
Okay.
You know?
I ain't. All right. Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
what happened, Doc? Did folks die?
5 people were shot.
Oh,
Sheesh.
this morning about 3:30 in the morning. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The two seem to go together.
Mm.
All right,
But
Yeah.
if it's a
I know.
special
And
area,
it's controlled by
it's controlled by
yeah.
the police and the city, that wouldn't happen.
Okay, you can be the czar. You can put the legislation forward. Not me. No, no.
I'm gonna need
no,
your help,
no,
right?
I ain't gonna do it.
You are a
You on
doctor.
your own, brother. Okay. All right. Wonderful story. So you want to do this one about the Americans that were freed in the
Oh.
Oh,
historic
I don't have it
multi-
in front of me, but yeah,
Okay.
that so much went on this week. I forgot. That's probably the biggest thing that happened on the international stage is
Yes.
the swap, I guess.
Yeah. Russia.
Prisoner
That was
swap is what they
crazy.
call it. Yeah.
Evan Gershkovich. I won't say his name wrong. Gershkovich and Paul Whelan, who had been over there for I don't know how long in a historic multi-country swap. It was amazing. It was actually amazing. And I was watching the arriving back on the United States and the family scene. That whoever was behind the scenes. Now that's a deal. That's a wheel of deal. You talking about deals in the NFL or NBA. That's a historic deal putting that together, getting those
Who
folks
did
out
that?
of there.
Was that Biden or was that the ambassador?
Well, no, it was
I think it's everybody,
um,
all the countries involved.
well, people are saying that's the value of having alliances. Where you go in, you talk to people, you work it out. It's just like, I mean, we know sports deals, right? But it was the same thing. You got to have alliances with people.
Right.
They've been working it for a long time,
Gotcha.
and they brought those Americans home. So big props, and I give it to the Biden administration for pulling this off. Huge props, huge props. So you got a couple. I think we did Simone Biles.
Oh, Shakari, she got her silver medal too. I'm
Yeah.
Got a silver.
yeah. I'm
Oh, you didn't
blanking on
know
her
that?
last
She didn't
name
get a
right now.
gold.
No, man.
She was fast, but St.
That girl-
Lucia was just a little bit faster.
That's
they got
right.
their first
That girl
gold
does-
medal.
She got that.
Yeah.
She really did.
She's-
Her starts are horrible, man. For real. She was like 4 meters
Can't
behind.
be smoking weed and losing.
Hey, but
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
But let's not
That's in the past, brother. Don't do that.
let's
They
not
gonna
make
blame it
silver
on me.
medals.
They're gonna blame it on me. No, I didn't say that. Mike said that. Okay.
Doc,
Go
let's
say
not
that.
make silver medals not a big deal.
You're right. You're
Hold
right.
on.
Absolutely.
That's number 2 in the world.
You're absolutely
Oh,
right.
that's to be celebrated.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Right. You're right. No. We'll give our love. We can give her.
Yeah, and then USA also got the bronze medal in that too. So we're doing pretty good.
Okay, y'all went back to the Olympics. I was trying to stay on the other stories.
Maybe we need to.
All right,
Okay.
let's see. We got a lot of political stuff up, but that might come up as the show goes forward. And I think who would have been 100 years old this week?
Rosa
the-
Parks,
Huh?
Wow.
Malcolm X.
Nope.
The great Mr. James Baldwin,
The great,
Oh,
the
that's
great
right.
author, writer, James Baldwin. Incredible.
100 years old, would have been on Friday. Happy birthday,
James
sir.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
He
the
can
fire
write.
next time. Oh man, you talk about. He may be the preeminent critic or commenter on race in America. If you
Yeah,
ever,
he's pretty dynamic.
he's deep, man.
He's dynamic as hell.
There's for you
He
out.
came to San Francisco.
Oh man, there's
60, 70
there's
years
a
ago.
video. I am not your Negro. That
Right.
You
Yeah.
can probably catch
Yeah.
on Netflix. That is just incredible. Incredible. And if you watch it, then you'll know where James Baldwin. I mean, he knows America when it comes to race. Absolutely. All right. Let's jump into the show. And Mike, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, man.
What we doing?
Well, I need the listeners to help me because I actually called somebody to talk me off the ledge.
What's the number to
because-
dial?
Well,
What's the number to dial for the listeners? to help you?
877-955-1061.
Yes.
877-955-1061. So this is because of what happened at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention last week when Mr. Trump had
You
his
didn't like that?
no.
Okay.
No. So let me just see. Don't start me off here. I'm trying to build up to that. Right. So I'm already. All right. And really want to know from the listeners and the callers, what are your thoughts and feelings about Donald Trump's remarks at the NABJ convention, national convention? I'm assuming folks know what happened. Where's my phone? It was. I didn't like what he said. Let me just start right there. I didn't like what he said at all. Okay. And let me just go to some of the things that we said in case you didn't know what was said. And so you might want to help me as I look to all this.
And let me just repeat, we just want to hear from you callers. You know, maybe you did like it, maybe you didn't. That's
Oh.
fine. We were really interested, you know, before we kind of dissect it and hearing from you, what your reaction was to a pretty big story this past week when Donald Trump spoke at the Black Journalists Convention.
So there's a lot that goes on here, but he was invited by the NABJ to, you know, to come speak. They're journalists, right? Although a couple of journalists were like, no, don't invite him, but they invited him anyway. They want to hear.
As they should.
He's running for, you know, he's running for.
Some people did not
presidential
want
nominee
them to invite him at all. That's right.
at all, right? In fact, one person resigned, but they did. So they sat down, and he said so much stuff that you know, the soul was listening to it, and he was texting me like crazy. And I'm to see where so the first question from the journalist was, a lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have
That's
used words
serious.
like animal and rabbit to describe Black district attorneys. You have attacked Black journalists. So my question, sir, that was nice, she says, is why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Right.
And that was the opening question.
Right.
And he said, I don't think I've ever been asked a question like in such a horrible fashion. Aren't you from ABC? That's a fake network. All right. And then he went into a whole bunch of other stuff. I love the Black population. I've done so much for the Black population of this country.
Since Lincoln.
Okay, noting his created opportunity zones and you know, a bunch of other stuff. Historical Black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold, broke, and I saved them and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I have been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. And so she asked him about Lyndon Johnson, who signed the Civil Rights Act, and he didn't comment on that. But then he went back to says, now, first of all, let me explain to the man who doesn't know any history. Abraham Lincoln did not like Black folks. Okay, let's get this straight. Listen to me. This is Dr. Marshall. 2 years before the Emancipation Proclamation, he brought Black leaders to the White House and said, I don't know if this is going to work here. I think all of the Black people should leave and go back to Africa or the Caribbean or someplace. And the leader's like, no, we ain't going nowhere. You know, we don't nowhere. So this whole thing that he loved us so much. Now, I don't know if he, I think it was a political thing. He probably needed to do it, you know, for political reasons at some point to
Business,
slaves.
politics.
Yeah. But this whole thing of he loved us so much. No, he didn't want us here. Okay, you can call me and tell me about that. So like he needs to know that before he goes on with this Abraham Lincoln stuff. And then, you know, the question was about, oh God. I thought I had this stuff pulled up. All right.
He talked about, she asked him about his, you know, the woman.
All right, so here's the thing
against.
that got me the most. So this is his opening statement.
Yeah.
All right. And then he says, I've known Vice President Harris for a long time, not directly very much. She was always of Indian heritage. And so she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago. You see, my voice can't do his voice. Yeah, I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black. Turn Black. Okay, let me calm down. And now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know. Is she Indian or is she Black? I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't. Because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person. So now I'm like pissed. Can you say pissed on the radio? No, you can't? Okay. I'm angry. I'm like, we invited you to our house and you're going to talk this way. And we're all sisters there, right? Sisters, right? You're going to talk this way, not only about the Vice President of the United States, but you're going to talk about in racial terms, right? And you know,
I will give him kudos for coming.
Okay, you
for
can.
showing up.
You can.
But
if I come to your house just to insult you, I ain't giving you kudos for coming to my house. That's me.
I do give him kudos for coming. For
Okay.
showing up.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will give him kudos for that.
Okay.
But that's it as far as respect and kudos, because it's like disrespectful. You're not you just feel like you come across as somebody that feel like they're better than people. And the crazy thing for me is that you have African Americans saying whatever they say about Trump and then hating on Kamala Harris. It's like, wow.
We're gonna get into all of that. Right. We're gonna
This
get it.
is crazy.
There's all kinds of stuff in here, right? Then he asked, do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she was a black woman? I don't really know. It could be. And then it went to this whole thing about a DEI hire, and he didn't know what DEI was. And what do you mean by DEI? Until he told diversity, equity, and inclusion. And he kept asking her. Then he started talking to her and says, "Will you just answer my question?" And then it was.
They only bring up the race thing when it comes to that. Like they don't bring up the race, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't bring up the race card in any other situation except
he brings up the race card if we did the birther thing, right? He's saying was she really born here, right? And so I mean,
my point is, like, when you see her, she's black.
Yes.
Like it don't matter. Like nobody's going to question, is she Indian? Is she Jamaican?
She's an AKA. She went to Howard. You know, I mean, are you?
We got a call.
We do. Okay. I mean, talk me off the ledge, people. I want to know if Doc is putting too much on it. I really do. I do. I'm sensitive to that because, all right, 877-955-1061. Thank you for calling. Your thoughts on that? If you saw it, I hope you did. If not, just reaction to what you just heard. Go right ahead. What's your name?
My name is Tim, and I'm from East Palo Alto, California.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tim.
What's up,
Thank you
Tim?
for calling. Am I putting too much on this?
I actually did watch that yesterday. I mean, I watched that segment with Trump going to Chicago to speak with those young ladies,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually feel like, you know, truthfully, right now the world is America is really sensitive right now on all issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling like, you know, I feel like she was more disrespectful than he was, because first of all, regardless of the status quo of, you know, one thing that everybody's caught up in right now is racism, the black card.
Are you black? Let me ask you a question. Are you black?
Yes, sir. I'm 100% black, born and
Okay,
raised
sure.
in East Palo Alto, California.
All right, yes, sir.
I'm from the soil. I'm from the flatland. And now when I'm watching, I'm 51 years old. I'll be 52 in a couple of weeks this year. So I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a son. I'm an uncle. But at the same time, I'm checking out the issues, and I just feel like he wasn't as disrespectful as people say. Because one thing about the propaganda and whatever come out of Trump's mouth, everybody's going to already downplay anyway. So
we know the history of Trump, though. Do you know the history?
I know the history.
Okay, so if you know the history of Trump, how can you say he was not doing too much when you know the history of what he's done and what he said and where he comes from?
Like,
but let him get. That's his thoughts.
Let him
You
say
can
his
have
thing
your
now.
thoughts, brother.
Yeah.
You can have your thoughts. Yeah.
My thoughts can't be changed on this because I lived in Texas once upon a time, and I went to an all-white school.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother and grandfather were predominantly they dominated the neighborhood where we lived in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, every year I showed up to a white school for 7 years. I never dealt with racism.
Mm-hmm.
I never dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have proof that of the schools that I went to on being in the yearbook and everything. I went to an all white school and got stuff like class favorite, best dressed.
Yeah.
Okay, Trump is not prejudiced. Trump is prejudiced to ignorance of people. See, because once upon a time, if you know American history, Trump actually was he was popular amongst Americans in 1994, 95. He was very popular, not just with his businesses, the opportunity he was giving Americans.
Okay.
Some Americans forgot. I believe the older Americans forgot, because I see my mom is 70, my dad is 70, but okay, the older heads, a lot of them forgot, and some of them didn't even pay attention back then. I've been
Well,
paying
he wasn't,
attention
but
to
he wasn't running for office then.
No, he was actually not running for
Yeah,
office.
he was an
and he was
entertainer. Yeah, and he's a businessman. So is that? Yeah,
And
yeah.
and he was a Democrat. See, the
He
Democrats
was a
led
Democrat. That's correct.
the Democrat, and this doesn't have nothing to do with his policies. His policies are great for America. If you listen to his policy, if you listen to the rally,
Oh,
and
let me just do this. I want to focus just on that day and that moment. I do want to do that because we're going to have more shows, right? I actually wasn't going to do a show on this at all until after the Democratic convention, but that got under my skin, and you heard my reasons. I don't like my folks being insulted. I got you. But no, I want to hear what people think. So you weren't personally offended yourself, because I was big time, and I still am. And you saying you weren't, and I just wanted to know.
I'm gonna tell you why I wasn't offended, because I have a mother and I have a father, and at the end of the day, no matter what, we have to respect our elders, and they wasn't respecting the elder.
All right.
One of them was, but two of them wasn't. But the one that attacked him, she didn't even greet herself.
Okay, no,
She just went in.
Wait. We got a bunch.
We went to the Lions King, and she went in.
Brother, hold on. We got a bunch of calls. I'm just taking a pulse. And I get you. I just want to hear people's opinions, and that's yours. Okay. I was offended. You weren't, and that's what I wanted to know. So thank you. Thank you very much. And stay tuned. We're going to do more shows as we get closer to the election, because this is a big election. I appreciate you. 877-955-1061. That was his opinion. He was not offended. I was. I was seriously offended. I want to hear from anybody else out there. Were you? How did you feel about? And am I putting too much on it? Apparently, he
what
thought
was your
I was
reaction
putting too
to
much
it?
on it.
Yeah.
Huh?
He wasn't tripping.
Huh?
He wasn't tripping.
No, he was not.
Right.
Yeah,
So
no.
let's
They disrespected him.
It didn't bother
They
him.
disrespected Trump.
That's what he
was
said. But again,
That's crazy.
that's his opinion, right? And that's all I want to know. I want to hear more people. 877-955. How did you feel? Is Dr. Marshall putting too much on it? Talk me off the ledge, because I was particularly offended for a lot of reasons. Questioning Black folks' intelligence has been going on since the dawn of America, right? We used to write books about our brains, right? Are we smart? Now aren't we smart? But there was another issue in here. The whole thing, is she Black or is she Indian, right? I mean, what is she? All right, don't we get to define ourselves, who we are? I mean, I do. I do get to define myself. And there was apparently there was another thing about when she was the first senator. It said she was the first Indian United States senator. And she was introduced like that, but that's because, again, people don't know that in 1876 or thereabout, the first Black male senator was from Hiram Rebels from the state of Mississippi. So she wasn't the first Black senator. All right, what you got? What you got for
Doc,
me?
in the concept,
We got a call. We got a call. So let's go straight to the call. All right, go right ahead. You are on Street Soldiers. Am I putting too much on it? Go right ahead. Your thoughts. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Naomi.
Hi, Naomi.
And I was very offended, actually, because everybody knows that Kamala Harris is half Indian and half African American.
That's right.
So why does she have to identify as one or the other?
Right. Right. You're right. Right. And see, that's the other thing. He doesn't understand that people can be of mixed race. Mixed race. He doesn't understand that. They understand that. You can be both. Why don't you be both? So
Exactly.
exactly. And that's the fastest growing population, Mike.
What's that?
Mixed race population in the United States.
A lot of people are multicultural.
Absolutely.
And it's time to recognize that and not box people up into one category or one race.
1 in 10 Americans identify as multiracial.
Wow, 1 in 10.
1 in 10. The demographic has shown exponentially in the past decade. It has grown, from 9 million people in 2010 to 33 million people in 2020. And apparently he can't see that. All right, let's take another call. Talk me off the ledge here. Dr. Marshall putting too much on this. Trump's appearance at the NABJ convention.
Peace, and love.
Go right ahead, my brother. What's your name?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
I got these earphones on. Yeah, I'm pointing.
Yeah. What's your
I
name,
haven't
man?
seen you in a
His
while,
name is Quincy.
Dr. Marcus.
Hey,
Oh,
Quincy, thank
I'm
you.
Quincy.
I got you, man. Go right
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm sounding like Bay. I'm in the chat, but yeah, I just wanted to chime in and say my perspective. I really don't have anything one foot in this fight. Either way it goes, like I'm not on Donald Trump's side. And the NABJ, well, I wasn't offended by it overall because I do feel like it was it's kind of wild. The climate wasn't ready for that. And if they were going to do something, I'm offended that they didn't go in there and actually get Donald Trump to state anything about his policies or whatnot, or what was the purpose of it? That's my thing. What was the purpose of that event? It made us look kind of crazy. That's how I feel.
Well, my understanding, they did ask several questions, like they asked him about the jobs thing, about that's the whole thing.
But it's like if we already been watching it, we already see how they interact. Why would you even approach that man like that?
But did you watch the whole thing?
What was you trying to expect? See, that was another thing I didn't mention. I didn't watch not 1 second of it. I only heard.
You gotta watch clips. You gotta watch the whole thing.
I did hear that opening statement, the way that she approached him and the way that he sidestepped her and gave her a right hook. But it's like, what was the purpose of that?
She asked a straightforward question.
Well, she asked several questions, and well, I don't want to go
there.
Straightforward
question.
Trying to get him to say something that
she asked
you already know who that man is. What y'all trying to do?
Brother.
Well, no. Let me just say the first question she asked was, "Why should black voters trust you?"
Right.
That was the first question.
That's a straightforward question.
After you have used language like that, right?
Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump. What y'all?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And if you want to,
I would never ask no question like that. I would say, what are you going to do for us to trust you? Why you?
Well,
you don't got nothing to. You got no dog in our fight. Like, you know.
I got it.
You've been a billion.
So let me take some more calls. Thank you. I really appreciate your call. I want to hear people's concerns, if they have feelings about it one way or the other. Next caller, your thoughts about it. Your thoughts about it. Boy, I love this is what I love when the people call and tell me.
Doc, I appreciated that last caller's perspective. I really did. Thank you for calling.
Well, that's his perspective, right? Yeah. You know, I mean, everybody gets a chance. Go right.
Well, he's like, why ask her? We already know, and I can understand that.
You're on the air. Go right ahead. Your thoughts.
Hi, good evening. Yes, my thoughts is this. I want to say a couple of things. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. Grew up in the 80s and 90s, and it is well known and well documented that Donald Trump and his family, coming from his father, have had extremely racist practices. That's well known. Whether it's them being sued for not renting to people of color, whether it's them being sued for not paying their employees, their contractors, faulty businesses. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's no secret in that. And to the journalists trying to do a job, engaging and asking questions that he is not answering, he's not able to articulate clearly a thought, a plan. It is extremely difficult. And to continue to excuse this as he is Donald Trump or, you know, he's a great businessman, that's not what me as a citizen, that's not what I'm looking for in a president, right? I'm looking for someone that could stand up and articulate what his plan is, what he's going to do, or in turn, look at his record and what he has done. And what he has done is not much at all. You know, people go off of he's a great businessman, but if you look back at his records, he wouldn't be indicted for all these things that he's done. He's a faulty businessman. You know what I mean?
So man, we're going to do future shows on the election. I really want to try to just focus on, as people were watching that, how they felt in his responses to those 4 women journalists. I just want to. I see. That's what I know how I felt, and like I said, I was offended as hell. You know, I was like, dude, you can't come into my house, you know, talking to my sisters. That's the way I feel, right?
Right.
You know, I felt if I had been there in person, I might have done something, I'm gonna stop the violence guy. You just can't come in my house.
Right.
These are my
Right.
that's the way I feel about those ladies, right? So
Right.
I did not like it at all. I didn't like what he said. I personally didn't like the arrogance that what you said. There's a saying that Bull Connor used, and is I don't mind and you don't matter. And that's the saying that came to my mind as I was watching him talk to these women, right? I don't mind what I say to you, and you really don't matter. And I ain't said that since that's 1963, Bull Connor, and that's just the way I felt. So I'm asking, all of you, am I putting too much on it? And that's really what I want to know. So I just want to know how you felt listening to him in that that conversation, which wasn't really kept. By the way, it was cut short. By the way, ended after 34 minutes.
So specifically in that regard, thank you for redirecting. How I felt was I was annoyed. I felt that he was disrespectful to the journalist, as usual, as you stated, in regards to being very dismissive, combative, and then projecting his combative nature onto them. They were asking clear questions, and he was going around about not answering. So I felt just totally annoyed with the whole process of him even coming on that platform, them giving him that platform to in turn have an engagement, have a conversation, and nothing was clearly stated.
Yeah, and again, it cut off
with him.
Yeah,
my bad.
That's right. It cut off early, so we don't know. It was supposed to last an hour, only lasted 34 minutes, and there was something about technical stuff and all of that. So we don't know what future questions would have been asked. But thank you for your call. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I just want to see if I'm putting too much on this. So, all right, who's on? You're on. Go right ahead.
Hello?
Turn the radio down and talk to us. Go right ahead. You're on Street Soldiers. Can you hear me? Yeah, go right ahead. What's your name? Man?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on. Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, my bad.
Thank you for calling, my brother.
Yeah, it's all good. This is Big VJ.
All right, man.
I was very annoyed off his answers, man. Based off him bringing up Abraham Lincoln and trying to coincide with his works today. I felt like he was bringing up slavery and slapping us in the face again. You know what I mean?
I don't like when they bring up Abraham Lincoln.
Well, I told you, Lincoln didn't like black folks.
But I just don't like that. Don't like. Presidents shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't bring up that. Don't bring that up, bro.
Go ahead, bro.
Exactly.
Keep going, my man.
My bad. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I watched it a couple of days ago, and it was only about halfway through. I didn't finish the whole thing, but yeah, I was hot. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was very hot.
Yeah. And
based off his response, as far as all people, and degrading her, on TV and what she's standing for and her questions. And he did the same thing with Biden, when they had the debate. He was going around them questions, same thing about black folks. So I feel like, honestly, he don't give a damn. He don't even care about it. Honestly.
Well, here's what I noticed, man. Again, people can. This is what I think. He talks about everybody, but he don't talk about everybody's race. Like, he talk about other candidates. He call them names. But he don't talk about white people, right? He don't talk about. He only does that with people of color, and he puts in the race thing, right? And the intellect. So yeah, that's what I noticed. Thank you, man. Thank you for calling. 877-955-1061. You are on. Your thoughts on this? Is Doc putting too much on it? Go right ahead.
Nah, man, you wouldn't put too much on it, man. I'm annoyed by that, man. I feel disrespected. I feel disrespected for everybody that was there. And if our people did they research and knew their homework, like him bringing up Abraham Lincoln, blood, that was like a slap in the face of some slavery shit.
Yeah.
And people so much stopping that.
You're on the radio, bro. Keep the language clean, my man. Go right ahead. We losing?
I lost him.
Oh, he was so good at talking. But
can't curse.
Don't curse, man, because I love what
live
you're
radio, baby.
I love what you mean. I love what you say. 877-955-1061.
live and
1061.
expensive. It will not be free.
877-955-1061. Give us a call, brother. Call back. We'll get you on, man. Listen, and here's the other thing that offends me. If I hear black jobs one more time,
oh my God.
What is a black job? Okay. I run a nonprofit. Go right ahead. No, bro.
No, you call you. Yeah. Don't curse, brother. Don't curse ever.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
Man. I'm just so irritated, man. Like,
I feel
just
you.
like our people, if they did their homework, bro, they wouldn't be just accepting. You know, it's the that's Trump, that's him. No, he's doing that, being sarcastic, man, and taking them shots. He's purposely doing that, man. Like that's crazy. Like, so it's like, nah, you're not putting too much on it, man. Like that man, he done what he do best, man, and be disrespectful.
Hey, bro, I was asking, man, what is a black job? For real, man. Well, he say that one more time, I might go through the TV. Okay, dude, wait a minute. Well, we can do any job, man. Okay, can't we? Can't we do any job?
Any job.
I know you want to keep it on his comments, and now you taking it a little bit somewhere else.
No, but he said that.
He did say that.
That was part of the interview. Black jobs. He did that. That was part of the interview.
He brought it up again.
Yes, he brought it up. You know,
we got a new caller.
Cause she did. All right, go right ahead. Am I putting too much on it? Tell me.
Not really, but I wasn't offended at all because it was expected.
Oh, okay.
It was expected.
Got you.
Okay, I got you.
Goes into these interviews, and as soon as somebody asks him a question that he does not like or he does not want to answer, he'll start saying, you know, you're the most horriblest person ever in the world. You know, you're the worst reporter. This is fake news, la, 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 la. It's because he can't answer those questions. And that's the only thing that he goes to. So it was more expected for me. Like, I expected him to get up and act like a idiot in front of these people.
He does that. I just don't like the racial thing or the woman thing. I don't like that. He don't do that to nobody else.
Right.
Okay.
That's true. That's so true.
People of color. He does it to other people of color.
Well, yeah, you're right. That's people of color. Right. That's one people to do it to.
One second. I'm sorry, but yeah, like at all. I was also annoyed at the NBAJ because, or whatever the National Association of Black Journalists, because they gave him a platform to do this thing.
Yeah. Nah, I don't. I disagree with that, but okay.
Yeah, and some people were saying, like, you know, he was doing this as a ploy, so that he could have sound bites, so he can go to his rallies and say how he stuck up for you know, the white people, and how he told the black journalists blah 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 blah. Like, it to me it was like I didn't understand it. It was a waste of time. Like, I could understand if Kamala was gonna be there, but she was at the lady's funeral. But it just does not make sense to me why they would give him that platform to spew whatever stuff he was spewing.
Yeah.
But was I offended? No, I expected him to say exactly what he said. Now, I was kind of offended that he doubled down on black jobs, because again, like, I feel like, why is nobody in his cabinet telling him that you sound ignorant and racist?
They do tell him. They tell him all the time. He don't care. He go, his own people, man, don't do that. Stay on script, talk about the issues. Dude don't care.
Hello. Turn on your radio.
Yeah.
I want to speak on the black job. You asked the question about the black job.
Yeah, because that was the thing that came up in the interview. Yeah. What's a black job?
Okay, this is what a black job is. Check this out, because I work in the automotive industry in the Bay Area, right? I can kind of explain what the black jobs is to help break this down, because
please.
A black job is actually, if you drive through Oakland and you go to the barbecue place and it happens to be black owner. Okay. Most of the time that black owner has black employees. Okay. So, what makes it a black job? Okay. Because those are black employees, black owners with black employees. And what they're doing is they're generating black income for black businesses, for black opportunity for later in life. It's like you're building up your resume
Okay.
for basically, you're building up your resume basically for wealth for the youth for the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to Atlanta and you drive through Atlanta, you see most of them beautiful buildings that you pull up to. Most of the time you walk in there, you see black owners. Okay, now this is where the line gets.
But what's
crossed
a
with the
black job though, sir?
Okay.
What's a black job?
Okay,
with all due respect, with all due respect, right now you sound crazy.
Oh no, Mike,
That is a
Mike,
black
don't
job.
do that. We don't tell people they sound crazy. He sounded like himself.
I'm very intelligent. I got a daughter that graduated from.
Go right ahead, brother. Let that go. I didn't say that. Okay, Mike's passionate.
Okay.
So
The black job. This is what a black job is. This is what it is. This is
What is it? Tell me.
I'm on the job. I'm on the job right now.
Yeah.
Do you know I have a major lawsuit against a major automotive company right now here in the Bay Area.
Okay.
My employer, which happens to be my supervisor, which happens to be black, and I'm black also.
Okay.
He told me that I'm an immigrant in my company. I'm an immigrant at the company now. You know why I'm an immigrant at the company?
Why?
Because this is what's going on with the black jobs. Okay, for every one black person that works for the company here in the Bay Area,
Okay.
you can go to work, and all of a sudden they'll walk you in the office and tell you to come to HR, and they're going to compensate you a nice little pretty penny and tell you to leave. And now what some people are not doing when this happens is they take that money and they leave the company, but they don't go report that to the NAACP. But I'm smart. I went and reported my situation to the NAACP.
That makes sense if you think you've been wronged. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's called wrongful termination because
Yeah.
what they're doing is they're pinpointing the blacks on the job, and they're taking us off the job,
Okay.
and they're replacing us with the people that's migrated from Mexico or has been shipped in from Colombia. How do I know they've been shipped in from Colombia?
Okay.
Because I'm working with some right now who's actually said, I'm like, how long you guys been over here? Well, they've been over here for 3 weeks
Okay.
working for in the automotive industry that I work for, but they're making less money. So what they're doing is they're snatching the blacks off the jobs that qualify for the jobs for the right
So
compensation.
that's a black job.
Okay.
So that's a black job.
That's a black.
All I don't
Okay.
understand. Okay. And your definition of a black job. Okay. I think a senator is a black job. I think
Right.
I think a PhD is a black job. I think all of us is a black job. But go ahead. That I understand what you're saying. Okay.
We got a couple more. We got 2 more minutes.
Yeah, we got 2 more minutes. Get in here.
30 seconds or less.
And then we got more. Go right ahead. Your thoughts. Am I putting too much on it? That conversation with Mr. Trump and NABJ. You ready? You there? Up. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Last caller.
Go right. That was it?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Right here.
You're on.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Yes.
I was
I
offended.
just wanted to say,
Yeah.
I would say yes. I was offended, but people don't realize that. Well, if you're Caucasian, and no offense, but if you say that, whether you're Indian or anybody, everybody knows that black permeates everybody's race in the gene pool. So unless you consider yourself, totally white, it's like she is black. And how did he think that we're not going to identify with her, even if they say Indian? I mean, if you really do your history, you know that all that's black. So, would be offended. And what people don't understand is Donald Trump has the same people like Duchess. There's a guy in the MAGA named Duchess who wrote a book that's like their Mein Kampf, manifesto. But he got that off of John Locke, Charles Montesquieu, and Algie and Sidney. And these gentlemen, 3 gentlemen who said that, hey, listen, black people are uncomely. They have a big nose. How could they have a soul from God? So we can justify slavery by saying that they're beasts. So they had this cemented in the United States constitutional ideology. So this guy.
So, brother, let me just say this. Say this because we short on time.
We got to go.
The race thing has been played forever in America. All right, we got to go. We're coming back. Second hour, we got some journalists. We have the same conversation with them. A couple of them were at the conference. I don't know if they were in the room, but they're in the convention. So we'll be back. All right.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Do you see another brother lost in these streets looking for his soul? Trying to find my soul. Or do you see another brother searching for lost souls in these streets? A street soldier. Street soldier, here to help you get that chip off your shoulder, warm your colder days and sober your drunken ways, and find a way to help you get over these hurdles placed in our path. And this is not meant to amuse you. This is for all those who have questions but are afraid to ask. I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. No. When times get hard, you lose your way. Open your mind and hear what I say. This is a message for the hard and the soft. To those who tune in weekly and to those who keep an eye out for 8 p.m. on Sundays and turn their radios off. The truth hurts. The cloth has been pulled. We're walking around half dead. Use this show as your IV. Alive and free is a new movement. We've achieved self-destruction. A street soldier promotes self-improvement. Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah. Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah. Tell me what you see when you look at me. Do you see another brother lost in these streets looking for his soul? Trying to find my soul. Or do you see another brother searching for lost souls in these streets? A street soldier. Street soldier, here to help you get that chip off your shoulder, warm your colder days and sober your drunken ways, and find a way to help you get over these hurdles placed in our path. And this is not meant to amuse you. This is for all those who have questions but are afraid to ask. I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. No. When times get hard, you lose your way. Open your mind and hear what I say. This is a message for the hard and the soft. To those who tune in weekly and to those who keep an eye out for 8 p.m. on Sundays and turn their radios off. The truth hurts. The cloth has been pulled. We're walking around half dead. Use this show as your IV. Alive and free is a new movement. We've achieved self-destruction. A street soldier promotes self-improvement. Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah. Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah.
Oh,
We're live.
yep, we're live. We ready?
Ready.
Ready to go. Hour number two. Alive and free street soldiers. We have now on YouTube, continuing the conversation that we had in hour number one on Donald Trump's remarks at the National Association of Black Journalists convention, I guess it was this past week. Let me just say that first hour with the callers, I love hearing from the callers. And I stated my feelings about it. And basically what I asked them is, Doc putting too much on it? That's basically what I said. Just tell me, you think I'm putting too much on it. And I just want to know what people think. I really want to know. We got a variety of answers. I think it came out, most people said, no, you ain't putting too much on it. But, and other people said, well, this is what I think. This is what I think. It was all a map. So,
Doc,
yes, sir.
just one thing that you said that I want to point out. You said that part of why it got to you because it reminded you of something. And what it reminded you was someone named Bull Connor. And I just dawned on that most of the callers probably don't know who Bull Connor is.
Yeah.
So it reminded you of something because you're old enough to have been there You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Like, and the younger folks, maybe we ain't so used to that.
Longevity has this good things.
Yes.
Because I like to say, if you've seen it once,
there you
and when
go.
it comes up again, you know what it is. You know what it is because you've seen it before, right? And so they really did. And I'll bring that quote up once again, that saying again. So joining us this second hour to continue the conversation are three journalists, one of whom will be here soon. And we put this together so hastily that I am so glad that they decided to do this. Thank you, Soul, for your hard work and in putting this together. So let me first say hello to Wilhelmina. Is that to say that right? Wilhelmina, is that right? Quapo? Is that correct?
You did great, Wilhelmina Quapo. Perfect.
Thank you so
What's
much.
up, lady?
Hey, Malcolm, how you doing? Good to see you.
Pleasure is all mine. Nice to see you.
Thank you
for joining us today.
Yes, and
pleasure, my
we
pleasure.
also have Corey Antonio Rose, who is joining us late night. Apparently, he's back east. I think you said New York on the phone, Corey.
Yes, I am visiting a friend in New York right now.
Hey,
So it is just past midnight. It's a new day.
He obviously he's a journalist because journalists will stay up to get the story done.
Right.
And we'll get the story. Our third journalist who will be joining us shortly is Abinay Clayton.
Abinay Clayton, yeah.
She'll be on about 10 minutes, so she's going to join. And our fourth journalist, of course, is Malcolm Marshall. Malcolm Marshall, journalist.
Contra Costa Pulse, publisher, community newspaper, Contra Costa Pulse. And the three of you, well, Abinay's coming in a minute. Do you guys all know each other? Did that just happen to work out like that?
Yes, we do all know each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, I know Abinay as well.
You do? Okay.
I'm not sure. I think I've heard her name. I've never met Abinay.
Okay.
She went to Berkeley with us, or before us.
Oh, okay. I'm
yeah. She was before our time.
Okay. Sounds
That's
good.
cool. Small world.
So
nice
let's
to have
do this.
all of you.
Why don't you introduce the two of you? Introduce yourself, a brief introduction, what you do, and then even before we get to the main point of the conversation, I want to ask something about you and your career. But Wilhelmina, just introduce yourself to our vast audience here.
Oh, well, I'm a reporter out here in Sacramento. I work with the Sacramento Observer. We are one of the Black press out here in Cali. I am a general assignment reporter, but I enjoy reporting on arts and culture, education, and a little bit of politics. And I'm also their video reporter as well. So
thank you so much. Corey, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Corey Antonio Rose. I am a reporter and producer for NPR's It's Been a Minute. Catch it on KQED if you can. I am a arts and culture reporter and journalist. I cover intersections of public health, policy, and culture. I'm also the vice chair for the LGBTQ task force for NABJ and NABJ's 2024 Emerging Journalist of the Year.
Hey. All right.
Congratulations.
Up.
Thank you.
So then before we get this, I gotta ask, journalism is, how did you get interested in journalism? I mean, is it when you were a kid, it's like, I want to be, what was it that sparked it? Is it something that happened? Did you major in it? So Wilhelmina, what for you led you to where you are now with this career in journalism?
I like to tell people I'm just nosy. I've just always,
that's right.
I've just always been nosy. I always wanted to know who, where, when, and why. And my mother was just always like, girl, shut up. I don't have an answer for you. But throughout my life, everybody was like, journalism doesn't pay. Journalism doesn't pay. So I was just like, okay, I guess I could be a lawyer. So I was on the path to being a lawyer until something clicked, like, girl, you don't want to be a lawyer. You want to be a journalist. So just go ahead and do it and make it happen. So that's what happened.
Did you major in journalism or did you? Well, I mean, I was a poli-sci major and I wanted to be a lawyer. It's interesting you said that. I ended up being a teacher, so I understand. Was it late after college or when was it?
Well, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was after college. I think it was during college where I actually started on campus sort of magazine where I would just talk to Black women about their experience at University of Michigan, which is a PWI. And at the time in which I went there was a lot happening racially. So I wanted to get the experience of specifically the Black women on campus. So I started the magazine, just started talking to them. We published once a month. And had multiple different articles surrounding Black women on campus. So that it was extracurricular was
Got it.
extracurricular. And after I stopped doing that, I realized I really had an urge to continue doing that work.
Got
So.
it. Thank you. Corey, what about you?
You know, my childhood was mostly informed by that morning talk show on the radio, like hearing Steve Harvey, Tom Joyner, and then coming home after school, I'm watching Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
And you know, if maybe I could sneak at night and watch Wendy Williams. I think that growing up, that was how I learned how to like interpret arts, culture, in the world was through listening and watching interviews. And so I've been at it since high school. Did radio in undergrad. I managed my college radio station. Shout out to Florida Atlantic University. I wrote and covered national LGBTQ politics for South Florida Gay News. And then I went to grad school, and now I did an internship with KQED. I worked at Right Nowish with Pendarvis Harshaw.
Yes.
Shout out to Penn, OG Penn.
Yeah.
And then from there I went to NPR. So it's been a very full circle year, going from, you know, listening to the radio, listening to NPR and thinking, this is cool, but it could be a little bit cooler, to now being the person responsible for like making it a little bit cooler.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, Wilhelmina and Corey, this might surprise you and surprise you. I don't know how my son got interested in journalism. I have no idea.
Malcolm, tell us, how did you get interested in journalism?
In the world right now, because let me tell you, when he was growing up, he was busy busting my speakers to do his turntable stuff, music. That's all I knew was music, and he's still into music. So, Malcolm, tell me and the world how you got into the journalism thing.
Well, actually, it was DJing was my start. And I have a very, my story isn't the traditional route. But yeah, it was the DJing that got me into the technical side and using music and voice and making tapes. But instead of music, I always wanted to do more voice. So I wanted to talk more, or I'd interview somebody. So my mixtapes were always they had this extra thing in it.
Yeah, some interludes.
And then I got, obviously it was KSOL back in the late 80s. I got an opportunity to get in, do a talk radio show. And so my first love is radio. And if I could do radio forever, I would. I never saw myself switching over to print, but life happens. And so I ran with it. But I'm like Wilhelmina, I just always I enjoy hearing what people have to say. I don't need them to say things that I want to hear or that I agree with. I'm genuinely interested in other people's perspective, and I just think that's a skill that not enough of us have. Journalists have it because we need it in our trade, but it's really helpful in life to be able to put your stuff over here for a little bit and open up to somebody else's, and see their perspective. So I just like that a lot. Thank you.
Now I know. And by the way, the award-winning Richmond Post newspaper is incredible. The only paper in English and Spanish.
Now Contra Costa. That's right.
Contra Costa. That's right. Contra Costa Post. Contra Costa Post. All right, let's jump into this conversation. I think you already know the details of what happened at that with Mr. Trump's remarks to the three journalists that interviewed him. So let's start at the first piece. And any of you can jump on this about should he have been, because a couple of callers said that, right? We shouldn't have invited him in the first place. And my understanding is that one of the I don't know her role there, but she actually resigned, I think, because she felt it shouldn't happen. What are your thoughts as journalists, all three of you, about inviting him there in the first place?
I don't know if I would resign either way. I will say that. I'm not losing my job over that. But that's a tough question, in my opinion. I'm not a part of the organization.
Right.
But
you're a news person.
You're almost damned if you do. They're going to say, why didn't you? If you don't, then someone's going to criticize that. So that's a really tricky one. In general, I am for communication. I'd rather hear somebody than not hear from them at all, even if I think they're whatever, in general, that's my approach. But I could understand both. I don't think there was a right and wrong personally, you just have to be able to take the heat and all that comes along with that.
A lot did come along with that. Corey, what are your thoughts about that?
I've been a member of NABJ for going on 4 years now. I think that it was the wrong call in my personal opinion. I think that when I think about what conference is for and the parts of conference that I look forward to, this is a yearly convention that we have in different cities across America. I think about, reconnecting with mentors or reconnecting with my peers who now live in different parts of the country who I haven't seen. I haven't seen Wilhelmina since we graduated, and she was one of the first faces I saw at NABJ. And sort of when I think about conference, I think about that kind of spirit of camaraderie, of coming together to learn about the practice of journalism and to celebrate each other's work. I don't necessarily think about doing the act of journalism, the same things I do on my regular day job. I actually take off from my regular day job to go to NABJ because I'm not supposed to be writing copy, doing work. I'm supposed to be absorbing, networking, doing all these other things. And so with that in mind on the front end, and then in hindsight, looking at how the conference programming sort of did get upended in certain time zone or time slots and areas, I do think that it was an unwise decision because it ended up casting a shadow over what is supposed to be like a cookout or a family reunion for Black journalists across the country.
Okay. Well, Amina, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in the similar boat as Corey. I think this whole thing has been, it's been so interesting because the question I've been asking myself is like, how would I have felt if a George Bush had came, right? How would I have felt if any other Republican candidate had came? So for me, I wouldn't have felt any type of way. So it became less about that he was a politician and more about the kind of politician he was, the kind of things he has said, the kind of hate he has speared. For me, it was a dangerous call. Not only was it a wrong call, it was a dangerous call. They really put the conference up and it was almost like a 50-50 bet, right? There was protest outside. I was coming into the conference and I couldn't even get into the conference because there was so much police and there was protest. Like all of that, the reason why I'm coming to a conference, I'm not coming for that. I'm paying for this, even though I personally didn't pay. But in the situation in which people paid for this experience to come and learn, that's all of that is being disrupted in a very dangerous way because there were actual cops outside with their weapons, right? Things can go left very quickly. And that was all because of this person who was coming. So not only do I think it was a wrong call, I think it was a dangerous call. And I think it was a call that didn't do NABJ any good at all. So
okay.
Well, then why do you think any insight into, why they brought him then?
Well, they claim they claim this was just president, as in they had invited ever since NABJ has been going on. They have invited every political candidate during election year, right? And often the Republican candidate do not accept the invitation. They give out the invitation. It's up to them to accept it or not. It's just so happened that Trump happened to accept this invitation, and to me, yes, he accepted the invitation, but also if you wanted to create this safe space for journalists, there were so many things you could have done that would have quickly made him unaccept that invitation, right? He does not like he does not like when he can't have his way. So I would have done all in my power to have him say, no, I no longer want to come.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm listening to this perspective. They also invited Vice President Harris, and she couldn't accept then, but in sometime in the future, she will be there. So they invited both candidates, right? And look, anytime I talk to people about this, Trump is in a whole different category of anybody who's ever run for anything, right?
Exactly.
I mean, and what I always tell people is like, and wait, this doesn't come up tonight, but it will come up. I said, how many presidents have we had? Let's see, 46 or what is it? 40, I guess it's
We're at
40.
our Biden is 46, right?
No other president has ever tried to overthrow the I mean, none, right? You know,
Mhm.
the president, no other president staying in office. Nobody has done that. Nobody's come up with fake elective ballot schemes. And I said, and it's funny, I was talking to some of the kids and I said, even the Whig Party, you know, and I was there.
Come on, Wig, take it back. Take it back.
Whig Party. I said, well, you know, I did study a little of this when I was in, you know, and they never did that. So he personally is in a whole different, you know,
Category.
Republicans don't even like, you know, a lot of them don't like him, but he is running for office. So I do see, hi, Abinay, I do see, you know, I see both sides. I do see both sides. And I guess before we go to Abinay, I think so much personally came out of it that I don't want NABJ to suffer because see, sometimes you know, and I've been in, you know, in interviews, people get exposed, and I don't want NABJ to catch hell for this because they just showed for me an ugly side of him that I don't think is going to help him at all. That's just me, you know. So
I think they already
You know,
did,
I
though,
think
but, you know.
yeah. I think the question then becomes, what is the motivation for having him there besides like clinging to precedent?
Yeah. And they didn't know what he was going to say. You know, they didn't. You know, it could have been, but they didn't know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We didn't know.
What he
We
wasn't
didn't
gonna
know
say.
literally. We can't see the future of what, you know. I can't look into my third eye and predict what Trump is going to say, what former president Donald Trump is going to say. Sorry, I work for, you know, mainstream media. I gotta use his full title. But I also think that, you know, as a journalist, we lean on our own discretion and our own knowledge and our own background research for interviews all the time. And I think that, no, you know, we have 8 years of comments and interviews to lean on as precedent. You know, for an organization that's so bound to leaning and looking to precedent, we could have looked at the 8 years of precedent of interviews that he has done to know what kind of environment an interview like that at NABJ would foster.
Yeah, I would say
Go ahead,
I would say we didn't know the literal words he was going to say, but we knew where he
sentiment
stood on certain things and his sentiment. We knew that he was going to have personal attacks, right? Because he always does that. We knew that he was going to stray off topic and not answer questions because he always does that. So we didn't know the exact words he was going to say, but we knew what was going to happen at that.
God, we knew he wasn't going to sing "Lift Every Voice and Sing." Okay.
Okay,
right.
like we knew
that.
For me, he does that in his bubble mostly, right? He's doing that in front of, you know, the MAGA crowd and you know, his folks and all them folks. He said it to my face.
Well, I mean, we've seen him do that on the debate stage against Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden already, though. So I mean, while the day-to-day rhetoric is to his base, we've seen this, you know, we've seen him attack Black women before. We've seen him attack journalists before. We've seen him attack Black people before. We've seen him attack, you know, regular everyday citizens. So it's hard to imagine a situation in which they predicted no harm.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not saying that's what you were doing.
Oh no, I'm more fired up than ever. So for me, because like I'm out there, I'm already, you know, I look too, and I know Kamala Persons is a whole different thing. Abinay, thank you for say hello to your folks first, and
Hi.
then
Hey everybody.
Clayton.
Good to see you again.
See you, Malcolm. Nice to meet you,
fresh,
Wilhelmina.
always.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for inviting me.
The question we've asked was, there were mixed feelings about him being invited in the first place to the NABJ. Was it a conference or a convention? Is it a convention?
It's a convention. Yeah, both.
And Abinay, are you a member?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was a member of BAPJA, Black Journalist Association, Bay Area Black Journalist Association out here. And I participate in NABJ LA. I definitely try to, you know, stay connected through the local chapters, particularly.
So what are your feelings about him being invited in the first place?
I mean, I'm not usually someone who gets too upset about someone being invited to an interview. I understand there are a lot of like controversies around like you're platforming somebody who has said incredibly inappropriate things. And also I know that like NABJ will always invite a presidential candidate. I was surprised that he said yes. And like, you know, the other folks on this call have said like how he acted was no surprise. Did we know that he would be like, when did she turn black and all that? No, like we didn't know what exact like flavor of inappropriateness he would be bringing, but there was no doubt that it would be there. It was when I found out that he was going, I just kind of like rolled my eyes. I generally feel more in tune and in touch with, like I mentioned, the local chapters. So to see that like Trump would be speaking, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, that is like, you know, that's headquarters being headquarters. We have some kind of more veteran journalists over there. And I just think that the sort of ideas around like, well, we interview everybody, get both sides, do this, do that, are much stronger with some people who have been in the game for longer. Whereas I'm someone who's like, why would you bring Trump when you do know what he's gonna do? There's no way he's gonna show up to NABJ and be like, actually, I read about Ida B. Wells. Have you heard? Like, you know, that was just never gonna happen. The way he, like Corey mentioned, he's like attacked, you know, Nicole Hannah-Jones, someone who is very well known in the NABJ sphere. He's disrespected people who show up and are like major draws for the convention, right? Folks like Yamiche Alcindor and people who, as like a young journalist, I was like, oh, okay, like kind of possibility models. So then to have him come, I was like, I really hope the intention wasn't for press, because NABJ is always well attended, you know, like I don't know that they were hurting for membership to where this needed to be a ploy. But I do, you know, if I'm giving, you know, the kind of national organization the benefit of the doubt, maybe they were just like, we invite all the presidents. Man is a newsmaker. We're journalists. We're like, that is my most optimistic read of the situation. I can also be very like cynical about it, and it's easy to be, but if I want to be my most optimistic self, I'll say that they flat out thought he was a newsmaker. And so why not have a newsmaker at the convention to hopefully take him to task? But
you know, you got me thinking, what if I invited him on Street Soldiers? How would that go? Would you
that would I would tune in. I would ask to attend. That would be so messy. I would love to watch it.
It would be like, yeah, dude, you know,
it would be, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you and Donald Trump, like no words are gonna be like no one. It's just gonna be back and forth.
Some dead air.
On my show, and I would, you know, and I wouldn't be that way, you know. I just like, no, Lincoln. Let me tell you about Abraham Lincoln. You don't know about Abraham Lincoln. You know, you don't know that Lincoln didn't even like black folks. So don't be telling these people out there that Abraham, the best president Lincoln, because Lincoln tried to deport black folks too. Have you read any history? Have you read the book? I mean, that's what I would say, right? And
I just don't think he cares about facts. You know what I'm saying? Like people lay out things,
but I would say that. You know? That's what I'm saying. You see, what he cares about is what he's going to hear from me, right? So anyway, I don't know. Would I have Bull Connor on the show? Would I have had George Wallace on the show? I'm thinking about all these things. All right,
George Wallace,
not the comedian. I'm talking about the racist.
No, yes,
no, he knows who you're talking about.
Shirley Chisholm's opponent.
Right, any of those. Right. So, how would you looking back on it? Just you're the person that you're sitting in front of him, right? And you're the journalist. All four of you, you're sitting in front of him, and you got to compose these questions. Just how did you feel that the questions flowed? I mean, not that he would have said anything different, but I'm just curious as to is any of you. Somebody said, well, you know, the questions were harsh questions. Well, you journalists, I have to always think journalists are supposed to ask tough questions. That's what
interviews are tough.
Yeah,
often in general. And if you're going to interview that man, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, there's no. So I don't know how you could pull that kind of interview off so gracefully that everybody's happy with it. You know, that would be hard.
I just heard somebody say that, and I didn't think I thought the questions were great, but that's just me.
But a lot of people didn't. Tone can be interpreted in so many ways.
Anybody?
I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it. Her tone and, personally, me.
I think that
Go ahead, Corey.
I really have to commend ABC's Rachel Scott for her, just her complete work, but also her composure, the way she carried herself, and the way she demonstrated how a journalist that is put in a tough situation like this carries themselves with dignity and grace. I think that it's been tough to I couldn't imagine myself in that position, because as somebody who produces interviews and somebody who interviews people myself, you want a degree of predictability to the interview. You want to be able to know that this person is going to at least give you an answer that's going to build on your question and take you somewhere else where you can, have a fruitful conversation. And I feel like when the basic rules of engagement are off the table, and it's sort of like a free for all, those are the scariest kind of interviews to go into, because you really don't know what can happen in anything. You're talking about something that could influence the 2024 election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Momina.
Yeah, I too want to commend Rachel Scott, because it couldn't have been me. I promise you it couldn't have been me. I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet, because as soon as he started blaming me for the audio and then for being late, he would have had it. But no, I thought the questions could have been tougher. I think Rachel Scott did a great job. I don't know who wrote their questions for them or composed their questions or whatever, but you can tell that her questions were, she wanted to get at something totally different than, let's say, Harris Faulkner, right? She wanted to get to what I think is the real issue here, because she came out the gate with one of the most pressing questions that I wanted to know. He's sitting in a room with a whole bunch of Black journalists, right? And he has said all of these things. I think that was a very appropriate starter question. I had no issues with Rachel Scott. I want to be like her one day. Like I said, I'm not there yet. But I want to be like her one day. I really enjoyed how she composed herself, especially when he came with the personal attacks. So
she didn't let it get her, she didn't get rattled.
Exactly. She did,
which is the key. She let him do his thing, and which was nice to see in real time. And not an easy thing to do when there's a part of you that might want to just, but whatever.
Exactly.
I love that first question. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who are American citizens to go back to where they came from. And these are his words, right? You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe Black district attorneys. You have attacked Black journalists. So my questions, and she said, sir, which would have been hard for me to say, is why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that? That's a great question.
An appropriate question.
That builds context and lets people, who haven't been tuned into Channel 6 know what's been going on for the past
and he could have
8 years.
He could have answered that question. You know what I mean? Like he chose not to, but he could have had something to say.
I don't think I've ever been asked such a horrible question in a horrible manner. Like after that, no, dude, this ain't going there. I mean, forget this, man. You ain't really here to talk. So why don't we just end this right now? You know what I mean? Come on, man. And you call her a fake. Look, so I just, I commend you, because I couldn't have done it. I mean, it's been tough for me to do. It was tough for me to be there, honestly. Like I said, how I feel about my people. These are my sisters. So like I said, I probably would run up on the stage and slap dude for dealing with my sisters like this, right? And call them my sister. So no, I couldn't have. No, I do commend them. I do commend the. What was the difference?
And that's a very common sentiment, and that's something I've heard throughout conferences. Like, oh, our president should have stepped on stage to defend Rachel Scott and the other 2 journalists, or to admonish Trump. And I think that. I think Rachel Scott handled it the best she could. And I also think that it was her role as the moderator to keep the show pushing. And so I'm glad that, nobody came on stage and was like, stop the program, because I feel like that would have been a disrespect to the role that Rachel was brought there to play as the moderator. She could have stopped the program, but she kept it cute, she kept it classy, and she kept it professional.
Well, he showed his as the old folks say, he showed his behind, and they showed their, they showed their to me their dignity and grace. That's what it showed, and that's why I'm like, I didn't like that happen, but I'm glad. Not glad, but it just showed more. Is there any question you think you would have liked to ask, or you have any comments about the further questions that were asked? Because that's short, right? I got to get out of here.
We don't know what they were going to ask. We don't
Yeah,
know what they
that's
were leading up to,
yeah. Any of you, is there any question you'd have liked to see asked, or your thoughts about the follow-up questions that were asked? I like the DEI question. That's perfect.
I think that. Oh, go ahead, Wilhelmina, you first.
I don't want to talk to that man ever. I just don't have it's not that I don't have questions to ask the future president of the United States, right? I just don't have questions to ask him because he doesn't engage in a way that's fair, in a way that makes sense. None of that. So I thought the DEI question was good, but then it's just like, what is DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is? I just told you what DEI is. Are you going to answer the question or not? Right. So it's things like that like I want to get to the bottom of situations by asking questions. But then if you're going to derail everything like that, it's like, what's the point of me wasting my breath that God has given me and my gift to sit here and talk to you? But
yeah.
I think that.
Or Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, given the Trump administration's relationship to the LGBTQ community, I think that for all the things that did come out of that interview, one big gaping hole that I saw was the fact that there was nothing asked about that. Donald Trump's campaign, Donald Trump has asserted that if reelected, he would roll back federal protections for LGBTQ people. His VP pick, JD Vance, has opposed both abortion and LGBTQ rights. And NABJ is an organization with many LGBTQ members. And so I thought that, I at that point, a lot of things had been, I guess, looked over in the process of bringing him there and having the conversation. And so I'm not surprised that it was not brought up in the interview, but I do think as a journalist with my experience, with my background in reporting, I would have definitely asked him how his administration intends to interact with this community that is a huge part of the American electorate.
Yeah. Amina, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would ditto what Corey said. So many hateful things and so much dangerous misinformation has been spread about LGBTQ folks, queer folks, and a lot of it is coming from people who have every intention to vote for Donald Trump. They're not just Republicans, they're full MAGA kind of cult people. So I think that taking a moment to be like, hey, in addition to marginalized groups like Black women, biracial folks, you have said some really horrific things, elevated some horrible conspiracy theories. His son is somebody who will who will retweet that oh, if there is a mass shooting, it must have been a trans person. These sort of horrific things that are coming out of that side of the aisle that it would have been nice to have spotlighted, because we know what he's going to say about race. We know he's going to say some dumb racist uncle stuff, but there are legitimate things that people should be legitimately concerned about. If I'm thinking about my beat, I want to know what are you gonna do about guns? They asked about police immunity and police shootings and police violence are gun violence, but I would want to know, you almost just died, sir. Do you have any thoughts on that? I had the chance to besides the fact that he's people love me even more after I almost got shot. That's really been the only thing he has said. Nothing about hey, maybe we should do something to make sure that folks who are struggling mentally don't have access to these firearms, right? To make sure there's an infrastructure in places that at least police can be empowered to do this, right? There are a lot of concerns about, red flag laws being used by vengeful exes or what have you, but people won't even talk about police officers having the opportunity to do something, despite the fact that police officers it sounds like we're asleep at the wheel a little bit. We know you love cops, at least talk to them. So, who knows? And if they would have had more time when they were interviewing Trump in Chicago, perhaps they would have asked about, the LGBTQIA plus, community and about guns and deaths and suicides among his very base. But, we'll never know because like Wilhelmina said, he derails, he just throws things completely off course in a way that you only have two ways to respond. You can either try to keep your peace and be classy, or you could just fully like nuck and butt, And I think both are valid, but both
Depends
also
on the kind of show
their
you want to have.
exactly. They have their consequences. So I mean, there's so many pressing things that it's like, what do you actually think about this, sir? You can't just make quick quips and be like, NRA, I love you. Like you can't just, like you need to be asked about that. So I think that NABJ would have been a great place for that, but we'll simply never know.
Wow. I love hearing all your perspective. I really do. You want to say something, Malcolm?
No, just great points from all three of you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of where Wilhelmina is. I couldn't, you had to throw a whole lot of money to get me on that stage.
Okay.
And I do have a price, so that's why I didn't say that I wouldn't do it. We could a number high enough, we all, hey, but I don't care about my job that much. It's like something else. I wouldn't be what I do. I would be I'd be me, in front of something like that. And it is what it is.
I think that there's
bring out a certain thing in you, and he's one of those people. He's a human being that just
look what you text me as you were watching. You were so you're the one that got me going. So no, you shouldn't have been there.
I don't mean to make it biblical, but I just feel like that God is with me all the time. When I'm in the presence of something that I feel is not, I start acting a certain way, and I'm gonna say it like that.
Corey,
I want to add, like Rachel had a really good way of, like in keeping it professional and keeping her questions structured. She also was able to, no matter what former President Donald Trump's answer was, you still got a little bit of information about what his administration has been up to, or your curiosity would be piqued about what a real answer would have been. And I think that there is value in that. Being able to stoke the curiosity of a listener, even if the answer is not, what you wanted it to be.
Well, all of the things you just said, I don't think he has a chance in heaven or hell in a debate with Vice President Harris. I don't personally, that's me. I don't think he has a chance with her.
I never underestimate that man.
I said, I don't think he has a chance with her. That's just me. Now, his thing against her, I mean, I know her, I know her, and she's a prosecutor. I've been around her. I just don't think so. He'll do his thing and she'll do her thing, and how that plays out to people. But, if you want to hear, he'll entertain and do gobbledygook, and she'll do her thing. That's to me. And people are going to do that. But I guess people walk away from those things with different things. To me, it's like, what? Come on, man.
What resonates and like will kind of turn the conversation in this past few weeks has been super interesting to see, particularly when it comes to things that like JD Vance has said that have been brought up since he was chosen as the vice presidential pick, like that cat ladies comment, right? I feel like really, and even though it came 3 or 4 years ago, I had to cover a cat ladies for Kamala Zoom meeting that Nancy Pelosi attended, and they raised like $20,000. Like these, like things move, but I don't know that like these kind of big marquee moments like a debate is the thing that usually does it. Because like you said, Dr. Marshall, they're both going to come up, they're going to do their things. Kamala's going to, she tends to come with facts. She's obviously incredibly quick on her feet in a way that Joe Biden just wasn't. She's going to say quippy things, say it to my face and all that good stuff that kind of gets people going. Trump is going to be weird as he tends to be. And as the Democrats have described him several times, he's going to say, you're this, you're that. And we're going to be kind of none the better as a country. So I'm more interested in local races, seeing what the impact of Kamala's vice presidential pick is going to be. Like, I get so anxious around these election times because there is so much misinformation. Everything feels like it's burning on fire all the time. So I just have to remind myself that all of the politics is ultimately hyper local, and the things that like come up and the things that are like big breaking news on all of the kind of like, you know, top 5 or 6 news outlets, I try not to put as much stock in them, though they are outrageous and offensive. I can't let that determine what I'm going to look to cover as a journalist. Like, I can't just chase the shiny thing. And I would implore people who are listening not to do that too. If you're so disenchanted with Trump, see who like someone running for a local judgeship is going to be. Like, listen to KQED, listen to you know, like Alive and Free Radio, and see what's happening locally. Our San Francisco mayor's races, you know, these things will tell us much more about how your daily life is going to look than, in my opinion, what Donald Trump does and says. Though, you know, conversations about having multiple identities, being multiracial, all that is interesting. I just can't chase that as a focus because it is just so ultimately upsetting. And you see so many horrible takes from ignorant people and provocateurs just trying to get a buck and a few follows that I've really had to ground myself, especially after NABJ, to remind myself, like, okay, politics are local. People usually try to vote in their best interests. Donald Trump is a showman. What else did we expect? And I'm trying to leave it there because anything else will get me like sweaty. You know what I mean? It just makes you so anxious that I have to like purposefully, if I'll do what I need to do, like as a journalist, I have to know what's going on, but no, it can't have too much of me, you know?
I think as a culture journalist, I look at debates. I think they're very interesting because they're a way for the American people to hold the qualities that they think that they want in a leader and think that they value in a national leader up to the actual image and what's being presented of the national leader, the potential national leaders ahead of, like, in front of them. I think that, you know, you never know what's going to catch on from a debate or what's going to resonate with viewers. A fly can land on somebody's forehead, and then all of a sudden, you know, the internet is running with it as a sign from heaven that this person is going to lose or win the election. Debates are unpredictable, but I would not discount the importance of, you know, showing up to that stage and carrying through and having a strong performance, because we saw how quickly you know, things fell apart after the last debate that we just had. And I definitely agree with Abinay's point that our local politics and our local elections and those local debates, some of the most revealing things are going on in your local school board meetings. And Willoughby will tell you.
It's spicy. Oh my God.
But I think that we can look to these debates as a way to sort of check in with ourselves and think, what is it that I want in a president? And how are these people communicating that they are going to fulfill that?
Yeah, I agree with everything Corey and Ebony said. I think though, I would welcome a debate with him and Kamala for the obvious reasons. They're the two politicians running for president. But however, I think that would give Kamala a real opportunity to show herself as a candidate. You know, I feel like we're all, well, a lot of us are excited for her because it's just seemed like she came out of almost nowhere, right? But I think there's room to really learn what her policies would be. There's just simply because it's been such a short amount of time since she's been the candidate for the Democratic candidate. And ever since then, before then, we were just focused on Biden and what his policies were. And Trump, does he even have policies? And we don't know. But I really want to see her come up to the stage and really not necessarily debate him, but tell us, focus on telling the American people who she is and what she plans to do for this country, right? That debate would be less about Trump and more about her. So
establishing an identity.
Exactly. So I
Doc,
will welcome it.
3 weeks ago, I kept hearing, "Oh, nobody likes her. It'll never work. Nobody likes her." Well, and in 3 weeks, it's a whole different conversation because people are finally getting to see her a little bit.
Exactly.
So if you put her up there, she don't have to beat him at all.
Yeah.
Because she's not going to beat him in the mud because that's his thing. And if she beats him too much, people gonna be mad at her because she looks too smart. You know what I mean? So she's in an unwinnable thing anyway. All she just has to do is show us that, just make us feel a little bit good.
Show us that she has a plan, show us what that plan is, and I think we can move forward with that.
You know, we have a saying that we use with the young people. It's called never give them a reason to tell you no, right? They may tell you no, but you ain't giving them a reason to tell you no. We talk all the time. Never give them a reason to tell you no. If they're gonna tell you no, it's not because you gave them a reason. Which means show up on time. All those things that we do as Black folks, we know that, right? We got yeah, and that's something when I say, yeah, how many times you would get. I say it. Why you say that? Because you do have to be twice as hard, work hard. We know that. Or okay, all right, that's how it is. So never give them a reason to tell you no. And so I think she'll show up great. I have no idea. I have no doubt that she will show up well. Now, people want to tell her no, that's fine. But he made a statement about her being on the international stage. And it was as condescending a statement as that, almost call him a name, person makes about, oh, they'll never listen to her. Just look at her. You know, I mean,
don't nobody look worse than him. So I don't know what he's talking about.
And everybody gets to see her, right? I mean, she's been dealing with foreign folks, diplomats out for 4 years, right? She's there. So to make a statement, when people see that and hear that, and then they see her in all her, Kamala-ness, whatever you want to put a word. I just think she's going to be remarkable. I just think she's going to be fine. Now the question is he going to debate her? And that's a good question. I don't know that.
We will have to see. I think that it would be, like Wilhelmina said, it would be a remarkable opportunity to establish herself and reassert herself on her own terms, or as close to her own terms as she can get on a debate with potentially on Fox News. Because I think, like, as vice president, we think of Kamala Harris as, oh, she has just been Biden's VP, but before that she was prosecutor. She was a prosecutor. She was a senator.
We all
I think that
with Kavanaugh, right? But I remember that. I would watch her with him like, ooh, dude, you better leave her alone.
she has had these moments throughout the past 8 years, I would say, that have, stuck with people here and there. But now is the time for her to bring all that together and say, this is what I did as a prosecutor, but the presidency, the Oval Office is a different job. And yeah, these people don't really know her like that.
And I mean, there are elements of her being a prosecutor that I know have been incredibly controversial in a lot of progressive circles. And when I think about the entirety of the nation, though, a lot of people are more law and order than they may admit. And when they hear someone say, like, yeah, I was putting people in jail, they might be like, oh, good. Like, to them, that might represent something that doesn't hit the same way when you're talking to even like, a liberal Bay Area audience. Like, it just does not, like, the coverage just isn't going to be the same. So I am going to be, though I think my pessimism jumped out about the impact of debates. I think, Corey, like, you're super right. There are things that come out of these debates and these kind of big stage moments that end up informing the entirety of the race, that end up just sticking and are brought up each and every time. So hopefully Kamala, can come on there and have a couple of moments that resonate with the pockets that she needs to hit. Or otherwise, I do just feel like it ends up being another kind of Trump show. I think we've seen the Democrats take a different perspective and kind of be a little more messy than they have been before. I feel like there was a lot of the, like, high road, since Michelle Obama mentioned, like we go high, we are better, we are morally superior.
We're coming down a little bit lately, huh?
Yeah, lately I
a
think we've
little
seen
bit.
a different tone, right? Like the Kamala HQ page is just all JD Vance's worst moments of his life, you know, and like even willing to be like, what's up with the couch? You know, like willing to really be a little more messy. So if she brings
that ain't gonna work, that ain't her.
if she brings that, I mean, I think she'll bring it more than she might be known for. I think she's known as a very prim, proper, silk press Black lady, you know, who doesn't do all that foolishness. But if she shows a little moment of like, I'm not the one and the American people are not the two, who knows? Who knows who that's going to hit with, you know, especially if it's not about what Trump is going to say. And it is about her, you know, introducing her to the American people and being like, this is who I am for those who do not know. I mean, she did stuff as vice president. I don't know where this idea that she was just completely absent all the time. She formed an entire office of gun violence prevention for which she shows up to events for regularly. She is always, you know, she's continuing her work about violence against Black women in particular. Like she has done things, but I just don't think people pay attention to it. So I do feel like she's up against a lot, like the base being like misogynoir and like her also being like an Indian woman. That sort of xenophobia is at play. And then you have people just having this very short memory, kind of looking at the shiny thing and being like, well, Kamala just didn't exist. And it's like, she absolutely did.
Yes, she
and I'm
did.
sure she's going to remind us. I'm sure that's on the agenda.
I mean, we all have our ways of looking at this, and I want to thank you for all your statements. To me, this is like classic. This is like America. This is so America, right? And not just because of what Trump has done in the past, but the symbolism. I mean, obviously, this would be the first woman, right? This is a woman of color. She, to me, this is just me, represents those that were left out of this compact in the first place, right? You know, I mean, this thing was not created for the Kamala Harrises of the world, right? Women couldn't vote, all right? Black people, they were not in this thing, right? When they did it, all men are created equal, they weren't included, right? Trump is a perfect example of the people who were included, white men of privilege, right, with money. So to me, this just represents for me personally all of that. And so, especially when you got then you got a guy who has shown this is a rerun for him. We've seen this before. That's how I tell people. It's like you don't know what this dude going. He's been there, right? He's not an unknown quantity. You've seen him. So to me, this is a huge choice. Me personally, that's the way I look at it. I know every election it says that way. We felt that when Obama was running, but the symbolism of this says a lot to me. And I just want to see what do you guys want? You know, what do you want?
You know, Doc, I keep saying that I truly believe there'd be no Donald Trump if it was not Barack Obama.
Last to him, yes.
So the bookend to Donald Trump being Kamala Harris would be awesome.
Yeah.
I wish we didn't have to go through that at all. But like you said, this is America. And which means even if it is Kamala, what will be the response to that? We'll worry about that question later.
Threatening violence from day one, right? You know, if I don't win and all that stuff. So that, like, to me, America's on trial. That's just me, you know, personally, for a lot of reasons.
This is a moment where I feel, yes, you know, the symbolism of having a Black Asian American woman, Indian, also in office is like very poignant, and it resonates with a lot of the electorate. But also what matters is like, is that person going to embody the ideals that we want in a democracy? I think that we have moved from this place of pure identity politics where we associate, you know, a Black body in you know, Black, Black faces in high spaces. Yeah. It has to be accompanied by politics that are meant to serve and free the people. And I think that's been people's biggest issue with her thus far, is have her policies in the past reflected that. I think people point to her truancy, you know, policies around, you know, sending parents or fining parents and punishing parents for their children not being in school.
Corey, help me with this, because I hear that, but you know he won't. See, and I'm an I always say I'm an ABT guy, okay? My 2-year-old grandson, I'm voting for him, right? I mean, I'm not anybody but Trump, right?
Anybody but Trump.
So you may not have the answers to all those questions.
Mm-hmm.
The elder of the Boys Club used to say, you may not always know what to do, but you damn know what not to do. When he was telling guys were like, well, I don't know how this is gonna work, but it ain't gonna work. And see, so that to me is even more tricky because what this guy's gonna do. You've seen it. He's trying to destroy everything that so this is fascinating to me where people's heads are at. And it's a fear of all of that. So it's really, I got to see this play out. Says a lot where I'm getting dual citizenship or not.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not just a either or situation, I don't think. I think you can look at it like, oh yes, this, if you are somebody who's trying to keep Donald Trump out of office, then obviously you go to the polls, you do what you need to do. But in that same hand, we can also, walk and chew gum as far as getting this lady into office and then holding her accountable to the things that she says she wants to do for us.
Yeah, I just want to add that, like, I think the American people are at such a disadvantage with the last presidential election and this one. I think the American people has been such at a disadvantage where we're not even allowed to really even talk about policies anymore. We just don't even have room to really get into the nitty gritty of the policies. And I just think that's such a disservice if I can't even get into what Kamala Harris's policy would be without feeling like, oh, I don't want people to not vote for her just because of that. You know what I'm saying? Because all that the opposite is way worse than anything she would do, right? I just think that's why we're at such a disservice, because I want us to get back to the point where we can actually talk about these policies and these things that our politicians plan to do without just like the petty, the racism, the homophobia, without all of that. I want us to get down to the nitty gritty, and we're not even allowed to. We can't do that. We can't do that, unfortunately.
Want us to be smart, huh?
I want us to be smart.
Yeah.
You want people to be public servants, not politicians.
Public servants. I want us to be smart. I want us to understand and know what we're getting into. Yeah, that's all I had to say to that.
I feel like people feel like it's such like an emergency, unprecedented situation that, like, to your point, Wilhelmina, that like it's like, girl, the house is burning down. I can't even begin to think about how do I have insurance? Like, I need to put the kitchen fire out, and I don't think that's fair. That does put people at such a disadvantage because the thing in front of you is burning, but everything around you, there's a smolder here, there's an earthquake happening over there, there's something ready to burst nearby, but we don't have, or a lot of people struggle to find the space to kind of think about all that, because it is completely understandable to be like, yeah, this woman has a lot of things I'm concerned about. Is this all skin folk aren't kinfolk situation that we have on our hands? And I think we should be able to say that without somebody responding like, well, you gonna vote for Trump? And it's just like, I never said that. But what I did say also needs to be taken seriously. Like, I don't love like kind of the distractions. Like, I just feel like people are so hyped up and energetic, kind of, understandably. I have never lived through anything like this. And at the same time, we have to know that like someone is going to be elected, and we have to be clear-eyed about what they need to do. If it's the national debt, you know what I'm saying? What you finna do about that? It's the money and things going over for wars. Are we going to scrutinize that and make sure things are what they need to be? Or are we going to kind of continue to just zoom in on identity in a way that doesn't move the conversation forward, but rather just holds it in a place of confusion and insults, which I feel like is where we are now, but it could change. Even if the terms of the debate, if Trump agrees, even if it is on Fox News and Jesse Waters hosts and is as antagonistic as he wants to be, Kamala still has an opportunity to shift things to a slightly more stable place, or to like show that she is like just kind of like cool under pressure and ready to handle business. And I have no doubt that that is on her and her team's
she can do that
radar. And especially because we have 8 years, we got like 3 Trump candidacy runs to where y'all can learn from something. He has not changed his spots this entire time, even after almost getting shot in the head. He has not changed his spots. So y'all have plenty of homework to do that will hopefully, you know, pay dividends to at least make it an interesting debate. The dynamic, like the new kind of dynamism that has come since she's been in the race is something that if she plays her cards right will only increase after like a strong debate performance, some strong rallies and responses and real time to the crazy things, you know, Republicans say about her. And I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. Sometimes I wish I wasn't I'm like, dang, can I just take like a very convenient leave from September to mid-November and just not work?
Yes.
But girl, they're on to me. They're on to me. And they're like, man,
Look.
we'll have none of it. So I'm trying to plan ahead and maybe in bed with a group and just kind of see it through. So I don't have to just do the typical, but we'll
We should
see.
start a group chat.
Yes.
We're out of time. We're really wonderful. We got to have you back. It's going to be amazing. This is going to be something. This is going to be something. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for being journalists. Thank you. Well, look,
hey, y'all, this was a better conversation than we were expecting. Really, the three of you were awesome. Corey, great job. Keep up the great work. Hope to meet you one
And
day.
congratulations on your award, Corey.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank
baby.
you.
And after spending a few minutes with you, easy to see why you are an award winner. Keep up the good work.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I'm getting texts. What a fantastic show. Oh my God. This is just great. Look. So yeah, thank you. Make my ratings go up. Thank you. Y'all. Love y'all. Let's keep in touch and we'll see how it goes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Abane.